Such an obsession. Kellyanne's obsession. She knows this guy killed 3 girls, but she cannot help her crazed obsession. Such an obsession. She goes to tremendous lengths to feed on this crazed obsession. On this obsession. And when you dive into a killer's mind, you will give in to depravity. So much depravity. And you'll go to all kinds of lengths and ruin your life for your obsession. For your obsession. And when you give in to temptation, you will be consumed by your obsession. By your obsession. Red Rooms, over there is a French courtroom horror psychological drama filled with all kinds of obsession, depravity, insanity. It was written and directed by Pascal Palante, who did Nadia Butterfly and other projects. Check out his IMDb page for the full list of his work. And this got a lot of attention on film festival circuits, and audiences were praising it, and I saw it dropped on Amazon, so I decided I'm going to pay a few bucks and check it out, because why the fuck not? I enjoyed Anatomy of a Fall. I've been trying to dive into more movies that wouldn't necessarily appeal to me on the surface, and having seen maybe one clip, I decided I'm going to give it a shot. So, basically a model named Kellyanne, played by Juliette Garipi. If I'm mispronouncing any of these names, I'm sorry. They're French. I can't help it. If I get even within the ballpark, I'll be happy. Juliette is a very, very attractive woman. She plays a model that lives in a posh apartment, or loft, as it were, or whatever they call it, up there in Quebec or Montreal. And that's like the one attempt I'm going to have at a French accent, by the way. I watched the Dino Bravo Dark Side of the Ring way too much. So basically, Kellyanne is very obsessed with a serial killer, or at least a killer. Well, I mean 3. I guess would 3 qualify as that? The whole point, this guy Ludovic, Maxwell Macabe Locos, he is on trial in a glass area. I guess that's how they have their courtroom set up, basically, because this guy's really goddamn dangerous. 3 underage girls, they were found dismembered and destroyed, and basically we find out through various details and various parts of this trial what happened, and trying to unravel this whole thing and put him hopefully in jail for goddamn life, because one thing right off the bat, it's obvious he's guilty as fuck. And one thing about this movie that I liked was it, focus kind of on how groupies, can form in the most insane situations. I mean, Manson had followers, Bundy had followers, various killers have followers, various criminals have followers, and it's really goddamn sad. But yeah, young girls, or younger women being obsessed with, this guy, like, oh, he's guilty, or maybe he's guilty, but he's just so dreamy, or whatever it is. Or they're just so warped in the goddamn head that they feel like, oh, well, it's a witch hunt. It's this terrible thing. Like, he didn't actually do it. There's no way. They try to find any little thing because they're so warped in their own head and how they consume media and all this stuff. And there's a lot of stuff going on in this movie. So if it sounds like I'm kind of all over the place in this review, I do apologize. I do want to say I need to check out more of Pascal's work, because if this is I've heard of Nadia Butterfly. I haven't actually had a chance to see it. But if this is any indication of what this guy can do with some neat camera tricks and everything, because not all this takes place in a courtroom. In fact, I was actually a little bit worried about that. Not that it wouldn't have been interesting, mind you, but I wanted to find out more about the particular people. And it does focus on Kellyanne, obviously, and that's good because Juliette, again, a very, very attractive woman. And also, I want to say, knocks it out of the fucking park with this role. There's also Clementine. I kept calling her Clementine. Oh, my darling, oh, my darling, oh, my darling, Clementine. Laurie Babin. She's very good, also. And also, you have the mother of one of the victims. The Francine is the character's name, and Elizabeth Locas is the actress. She does good. She isn't given a bunch to do. She's given a few scenes, which I thought were pretty nice. But really, this is focusing mostly on Kellyanne, but Clementine is in the background, too. I do have to say Maxwell as Ludovic is actually very good. Ludovic Chevalier. I think is how you say it. I'm sorry. I'm really screwing up these French things. People that, maybe are from Quebec, if you happen to be watching this, are probably screaming at the goddamn, screen right now, you idiot, you can't pronounce this stuff. But, as things go on, it becomes obvious that Kellyanne is pretty unhinged. And, I mean, Clementine is no saint either, but it's a nice dive into not just how depraved Ludovic is, but also how depraved you would have to be a groupie, to be obsessed with a serial killer, to the point that you go to the lengths that Kellyanne does. The three girls were Kim, Justine, and Camille. 2 of the videos were released, and there were certain videos that were done of these killings, but one is out there, and it's like the holy grail. And obviously there's talk of the dark web and how things are done, how things are found there, how, yeah, you can be anonymous, but you're also kind of not. You can also kind of be found and everything. Don't try to find Unfriended the dark web, by the way. That's a really, really bad movie, but there's talks about that. I like how, even though it spent quite a bit of time in the courtroom, it didn't drag. It was, just under 2 hours. I think like an hour and 52 minutes by the time the credits rolled. And Pascal knocked it out of the park. Juliette was magnificent in this. Laurie was also very good. And I do want to shout Natalie Tanous, who plays Shadid, I believe is the name. She's one of the one of the lawyers, or whatever they call them up there. She was quite good. I actually would like to see more of what she can do, because I thought she had some really, really good scenes laying the groundwork of what we're going to end up seeing through this trial. And since it didn't focus as much on the trial, I mean, it focused enough on it, but then showed us more of Kellyanne and Kellyanne's. It seems like her lifestyle is controlled, like she's actually very good and, close and, just absolutely just set and everything. She's fine, but no, it's obvious she's fucked up in the goddamn head. And how she makes some money on the side and everything, not just doing modeling. And she pulls off the modeling look, and I mean that with respect. She absolutely pulls that off, and they have a couple nice photo shoots. And what I did like was, as things went on, it all made sense. I guess there are a few issues. I do kind of wonder how a couple of these things did occur. Like, it doesn't dive as much into the dark web, I think, as it could have, but it dives enough into it to prove it's not a place you want to fucking go. So I'm going to get into spoilers here in a bit, but what's nice about this is that it's so insane, the lengths people will go to for their obsession, and even if they try to maybe do the right thing by the end, you shouldn't ruin your life for somebody. You really shouldn't do that stuff. You really shouldn't try to justify supporting a goddamn serial killer or a killer or really any criminal like that. And yeah, maybe it's not, at the end of the day, maybe it's not the most wholly original thing, but I believe it has just enough working parts to absolutely recommend. So yeah, to me, it's one of the better films of the goddamn year. So I'm looking forward to seeing what else Pascal can do. But I'm going to get into spoilers. That's your warning right there. It's on Amazon for a few bucks if you want to check it out. 3, 2, 1, and spoilers. There we go. So the red rooms are referring to certain live streams that you can see of very depraved acts. And that's pretty much what leads us to Kellyanne and Clementine kind of getting together. Not like that. Not that I would have complained. Moving on, but it wasn't that type of movie. It was not a blue is the warmest color situation or a portrait of a lady on fire situation. They do end up striking up a bit of a friendship, a union, alliance of sorts. And Clementine actually traveled from a place called Thetford, which is apparently 102 kilometers from Montreal. And based on the geography of that would actually be pretty goddamn tough, especially if you're just traveling by bus or you're having a hitchhike. That would be pretty tough. And on some of those back roads, I don't know if I do that. But Clementine's obsessed. She feels that he's innocent. You can see just how Kellyanne got way too into the crypto stuff and also into playing poker, where, yeah, she doesn't always win, but she wins often enough, and she's able to make enough money on the side to do something a little bit later on. She also is so obsessed with this that she finds I believe it's Francine. She finds Francine's, you know, email, hacks into it, finding that shit on the dark web, finding that stuff. I did note that Julia is beautiful. She is. I mean, I'm sorry. It's hard not to notice. She has this ethereal quality, I think, that could pull off in horror, could pull off in period pieces. And actually, I thought she did a pretty damn good job acting also. Clementine, I thought was a more unhinged one. It actually turned out to be Flip, but at first, she calls in on, like, this talk show, and is like, you're being so mean to him, being so mean to this guy. You know, this guy that butchered 3 women. I mean, 3 girls. Like, that didn't... I mean, he shouldn't do that anyway, but these are 3 girls who never even had a chance to grow up. So, you know, Clementine's trying to make it up to her because she let her stay at her apartment. There's also this weird thing where Kellyanne's obsession is causing her to basically sleep in alleys. After showering at her posh apartment and doing all this stuff, she leaves, I guess, to make sure she's closer to the courtroom because her obsession has driven her that far. I personally wouldn't do that if I had a choice. I'm not knocking anybody that has to do that, but it's just, good Lord. Then basically it's revealed that they're going to show the videos of, let's see, Kim and Justine. And I had to remember the one that wasn't revealed yet. And anybody that wasn't involved with the case, wasn't in the periphery, had to leave, so no audience. And you could just hear torturous stuff. I noted at one point, was that a drill? Because it turns out Kellyanne had seen these videos. She shows them to Clementine, and you hear a drill. He used a fucking drill on him. And he was wearing a mask, but it was obvious those were his eyes. He's using a fucking drill on him. It made Hostel look like Sound of Music. And Clementine decides to go home. I guess it's too much for her. Oh man, staying up for a serial killer is fine, but seeing this. And then Kellyanne's kind of a bit of a bitch because she did take care of her. They were going to play like a racquetball thing or whatever it was. And Kellyanne's like just so deep into this stuff where you thought Clementine might have been the bitch. No, Kellyanne really is. She does end up at one point finding out about breaking into the house, that Francine's house, where Camille's, I believe it was Camille's mother. She's just trying to find out information about this. There's talking about the Tor network. Go Tor, Tor go. Do. And nobody's gonna get that. If you do, I love you guys. Live streaming is possible. You can be anonymous, but you also can be tracked. And there is a certain person, a cop, I think, that knew about this dark web activity stuff. But yeah, she breaks into the house. Then Kellyanne decides... She decides basically to it's unraveling to the point where now shoots are being canceled. And even though she has her money from Bitcoin and poker and stuff like that, it may carry her a bit. Her private life has basically come back to bite her. Like, you can have a private life, but when it's this depraved and when you can find out stuff and certain stuff got leaked, because she was talking to some people on the dark web. And, throughout all this and everything. And her next shoots get canceled. She then decides she's going to, change her hair, kind of like have a blonde wig, blue contacts, braces, like Camille. And that scene in particular, because it's the look she has on her face, like getting in the character, so to speak. You have to wonder maybe if she isn't actually as obsessed with him, believing he's innocent, maybe trying to draw the guilt out of him. Maybe she's worried that he's going to go free. But she does that, and then, she gets hauled off because Francine's obviously upset that somebody is dressing up like her daughter. But, Ludovic just does, this hand thing, this waving, that kind of stuff, and that's chilling. Then she's talking to people on the dark web, and the idea is she has to send proof of life, so to speak, that she is going to take part in an auction for Camille's video. And yeah, she's playing with Bitcoin and poker. She destroys this Alexa thing that she had, that I believe she called Genevieve, or whatever it was. Again, I'm probably screwing that up. But she watches the video. And we don't see it, but we see it on her face. The horror. And then she breaks back into the house, using a key card thing or whatever it is, or breaking into the smart home hack deal. Like the digital lock stuff. And she leaves something on on like a countertop or something like that, or a drawer top. But not before, still being, back in the Camille stuff, taking a picture because she's still so obsessed. But she leaves that thing and goes. Now, seemingly it's a flash drive because he pleads guilty because new evidence. Camille's video got leaked. So she paid all this money to get the video to just leak it. And, okay, Justice is brought. Clementine is talking about, she was obsessed with him, but then she realized, all this, so my thoughts are with the victims. I don't know what the fuck happened to Kellyanne. I'm assuming she went dark. I'm assuming she went insane. She probably was insane already. But yeah, that was Red Rooms. And boy, did it pay off. Again, not just what we saw, but what we didn't see. A+, very, very good shit. Likely on my favorite films of the year list. We will see, because there's going to be some to choose from. Some will be left off, but this is really fucking good. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ricklin. I'll see you soon.